Hello there, Aries. Thank you so much for stopping by for your in-depth monthly video tarot forecast. This forecast is for the month of July, and I am breaking this up into two sections. So we'll start with July the 1st through the 17th, and then after that we'll hit July the 18th through the 31st. Okay? So I've already got your cards down for the first half of July. The first thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about your environment. And the environment is really coming up as that basically I feel like a lot of you Aries are sharing your environment with somebody who is in most cases actually literally a female, although this could also be somebody who is a less assertive type of personality male as well. And this is somebody who is really good at encouraging and lifting up and really being supportive emotionally that you're sharing your environment with. Now remember, environment can be anywhere where you have energy or effort invested. So this could be home, it could be work, it could be school, it could be someplace else where you have energy invested. But so you want to keep a kind of an open mind about what environment we may be talking about here. The next thing that I'm looking at is your subconscious leanings. So these are background programs of your mind. It looks to me like you're wondering about some good information about money or about some type of material goods. So you may be waiting to hear about, that you've been approved for a mortgage or to rent an apartment or a car loan, or maybe you're waiting to hear if you are getting an inheritance or how much inheritance you have. But there's something going on with your subconscious, and I feel like your subconscious is exploring the possibilities of what may happen as far as good news for you about money or material goods, Aries. Next thing I'm looking at talks to me about two things. First of all, your learning style, and secondly, your communication style. So learning style, I do feel like you are trying to learn some things about security and becoming more stable, but I feel like as that information comes into you, it's coming in a little bit clouded and confusing. So I think you're having a hard time getting really clear information about how to add to the stability of your life right now and the practical nitty-gritty of how to make that happen. Now, looking at your communication style, I do think that right now, especially during this time frame, you're being very direct, very to the point. I think you may even be putting down a boundary or even an ultimatum as we go through this time frame, Aries, maybe even multiple boundaries or ultimatums. Next thing that we have coming up talks to me about work. And work can be that way that you make a living, but it can also be what you're doing to feel productive in the community as well. So what we have coming up here, though, is that you have some kind of new and inspiring idea, something that you are really looking forward to get moving on. And so right now it's just an idea phase. You may be still seeking approval of other people that may need to sign off on this, or you still could be gathering information about, okay, that's a great idea, I want to do that, how do I make it happen? That type of thing could be happening as well. It's still just in the idea phase, but at work you're looking at something that is inspiring and happiness making, something that you're chomping at the bit to move forward with. And remember, work can be working for somebody, it can be your own business, this can be work that you want to do around the house just as easily, whatever it is that makes you feel like a productive part of the community. Next thing that we are looking at, Aries, talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. Aries, you guys are pretty much natural leaders, but I see that really I feel like you're really stepping into that at a new level during this time frame. So not only are you leading like you naturally would, I think there's also, it feels to me like you're getting a sense of some of the responsibility that is falling on you as you're leading, and you want to take this very seriously. You're wanting to really step up to the plate with this and be the kind of leader that you would want to have. And so I really feel that your skills and your abilities in leading are growing. Your integrity in your leadership is growing as you come through this particular time frame. Okay. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about something that you stand for. And then after that, well, let me tell you, something that you stand for is something that somebody has probably complained to you about, asked you about. Maybe they've even confronted you about this. And so we're going to look at whatever that was that you had to stand for to this person, and then we're also going to look at how that person feels about the situation after you've had this conversation. Okay? So it looks like somebody came to you complaining about probably a female in your life. It doesn't have to be, but most likely probably a female in your life who is very much looking at things seriously and making very grounded, logical decisions. In other words, this person is not just acting on emotions and doing something really quickly just because of emotions and that fact that they're triggered. They are doing things because they make sense and making decisions because these decisions make sense. And so how this other person feels after you've explained the situation to them, then what they feel like is that that this person is doing what they have to do to make a decision, and to make a decision very clearly with eyes wide open. Okay? Which looks to me like that's exactly what you were trying to say to them. So it looks like they're really receptive once the conversation is on the table. Now the next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about the lesson or experience that you're having during this time frame. And really it's the experience is that you are working. You're very focused on work right now, Aries. And I think that there is a certain gift in that. You know, it may be that you're stashing away money to do something later on. You know, some of you may be putting in a lot of overtime. Some of you may just be really focused on your work and in doing quality work to a much higher degree. Or maybe you're doing more work, you know, if this is something where you're an entrepreneur and you're doing your own thing. The other thing that is coming up is I think that you are eliminating any kind of partying right now. There is no overindulgence that's happening unless it's that you're a workaholic. But any kind of partying, any kind of recreation, relaxation, I see it sort of taking the back seat. And I think that it's taking the back seat because you feel like the payoff for what you're doing when it comes to work is going to afford you some type of gift. And so I think you're really pushing hard right now because you're expecting that by pushing hard right now, that allows you more freedom later on. Okay? And then where we see you at the end of this time frame is kind of ties in with what we just saw. You're making preparations. You're getting prepared. So doing all that work is tying in as in there's some kind of preparation that you're making by getting all of this accomplished now. Okay, so that's what we've got for your first half of the month, Aries. I'll take a break, and when I come back, we'll look at the second half. See you in a sec. And we're back, Aries. Thank you so much for being here again. So what we're looking at now is July the 18th through the 31st. Looking at first your environment card. And what we have going on is that there's a lot of collaboration happening in your environment. So this could be collaboration between you and other people in the home. This could be collaboration between you and colleagues at work. This could be collaboration, like if you're a business owner, this could be collaboration between you and vendors. There's tons and tons and tons of different ways that this could play out, way more than what the examples were that I just gave you. But basically, bottom line here is there's some kind of collaborations that are happening. And I do feel like it's multiple collaborations that are happening in your environment. Okay, so Aries, looking at your subconscious leanings, it comes up that you are considering different things that you can do to improve your life or to make things better for you in your life. And so your subconscious is really working around and figuring out which one would be the best one for you to focus on. Okay. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style. So when I'm looking at learning style, what I'm seeing is that you are pursuing information around things that make you happy, things that draw your curiosity, things that fascinate you. And then as far as communication style, I think that your communication really centers around emotions during this part of the month. And I think that there is some communication that really is emotion-based going on, but I feel like there's more communication where about emotions that you're holding back, you're kind of keeping inside yourself. I think you're very aware of how you're feeling, but I just don't think you're letting just everybody know how you're feeling. Next thing that we have coming up talks to me about your work. And so whenever we have coming up here is something that tells me that you're not feeling very satisfied or very happy with your work. In fact, there may even be things going on that are making you angry at work. And tell you the truth, I'm feeling a little curious. Let's clarify, what is this that has you feeling this way about work, so that we have some sort of heads up. And you guys know we have free will. So the beautiful thing about getting a reading ahead of time is that, you know, there are cases where we can throw the energy off in a different direction by making some different decisions. Whatever's going on at work has to do with the idea that there is somebody sneaky, probably for most of you a man, although that wouldn't have to be since we're doing a general reading and there's so many of you watching. If this was a private reading, though, I would say that it was a man. But there's definitely a person at work who is sneaky. It's somebody who is really embedded in at work. In other words, the bosses like this person, or maybe they actually own the company, so they're not really going anywhere. So this is somebody who feels really at home in the work situation. Yep, and they know how to keep things harmonious between themselves and the higher ups. I'm going to say that they are a little bit of a butt kisser is what I have showing up here. They like to keep their reputation that way. And it looks like this is interesting because it comes up like this is a visit that this person is making. And I feel like when this person makes this visit, they are saying certain things strategically to strengthen their situation. And I think that what they're saying, you know, there's nothing wrong with somebody trying to strategically improve their situation as long as they're not doing something that damages somebody else in the process. I do think that what they're saying is something that just makes the bosses happy, but is not necessarily based by any means in any kind of truth. And I think because of that, you're having some repercussions in your job role, and that's what has you really unhappy with what's going on at work. Okay, so kind of clarified that. By the way, guys, if you want a private reading with me, I love to do privates. All the information about how to schedule one is listed in the description box, or excuse me, on the website in the description box below. Next thing we're going to look at, though, talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded as you go through this particular time frame, Aries. And so what we have coming up here is that you have been investing in something, whether that has been literally investing money in stocks or shares, you know, that type of investing, or whether it has been investing in something emotional, a relationship, investing in learning a new skill, whatever it is that you've been investing in. What I see here is that you are receiving the payback for that investment. It has become payday during this time, and so you're seeing the benefits of that energy, effort, finances that you have invested at this point. Now, next thing I'm looking at talks to me about something that you stand for, and then we're going to look at this person who asked you to explain it or who confronted you about whatever this is that you stand for, how they feel about the situation after you have had your confrontation or communication or conversation, whatever you want to call it here. So it looks like basically somebody has expressed appreciation for you. They've let you know how they feel about you. And for some of you, those feelings may be romantic, but for others, they're just general appreciation. And I feel like somebody has kind of confronted you, you know, why did this person say that? Probably they're saying, I'm the only one supposed to be saying something like that to you. And I'm hearing some of you say, well, they don't say it. But how they feel after you've had the conversation about this other person who expressed how they feel, they feel like you're not really making any sort of long-term plans. They feel like you're just living in the moment and seeing where the moment leads you. Where will the wind blow you? You know, they're feeling like, you know, you have no plans, basically, is how they're viewing things. Okay? So the next thing that we have coming up talks to me about the lesson or experience of this time frame. It looks to me like there's something going on where you're blowing the budget. Okay? And so blowing the budget can be, speaking of blowing the budget can be not doing what it takes to bring in the finances that you need. It can also be spending more money than is actually in the budget with the idea that you will fix that budget later. So doing something having to do with blowing the budget going on at this time. At the same time that that's happening, it looks to me like you've got something going on here that is not making you feel really great about where this money is going. It feels to me like, I think you're kind of viewing this as sort of a black hole where your budget is getting blown. And I think also something that's going on here is that there is somebody who is trying to help you with whatever this situation is. And they may be actually loaning you money or giving you money to help you with whatever the situation is here. And then the last thing that we see before we really end the month is we see you really evaluating that financial situation and looking for solutions about, okay, what can I do to bring this back into balance the way that it needs to be? Okay, so that's a good place to end off when we're looking for solutions, right? All right, well, thank you very much for being here, Aries. I do appreciate it. If I don't see you guys here for a private reading, which I'm sure I will see some of you here for a private reading or a Reiki session between now and then, I will see you guys back on the next video. Peace out.